Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormy B Man, and I am back welcoming you to another edition of Dine and Dish for this Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. And we're calling this one Sammiches and the bread that makes them. That's right. We're going to talk about some sandwiches tonight, and we're going to talk about what type of bread makes for an outstanding sandwich. And as we bring this in to you this evening, I wanted to let you all know that got a special guest in the studio with me this evening. I got my man, Boxing and Barbecue, who has decided to join me for one of these Dine and Dish joints we had always been talking about, that we would come together for this. So this is that day. And I'm sure I'll be able to get my brother on here with me again. But tonight we're keeping it light and mild, talking about sandwiches and the bread that makes them. So welcome, my man, Boxing and Barbecue. Welcome to the show this evening, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Stormy. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited at the same time. I'm hoping that I can bless your platform with some useful information.
No problem, brother. This is all like, hey, it's talking about food, man. So anytime we get to talking about food, especially the foods that we like, things that we like to make and things of that nature, man, it's no different than just inhaling and exhaling that sweet, savory scent that's coming from the kitchen when you know that you're putting together some pieces in there, man, and you can't wait to sit down with it on a plate in front of you. So that's all it is. That's all it is. I bet you don't get nervous about eating, do you?
Absolutely not.
That's right, man. Because when it's time to throw down, it's all going down. You could believe that. Yes, sir. I want to, first of all, we got a few people out there in the chat. I want to take a moment and acknowledge who we got in the building with us this evening. We have MPWTF out there saying salute Stormy B, man, and salute to the chat. Smash the like button on the way in. That's right. Big homie Coop is out there. That's my juice there. He says salute Seafood Stormy B, man. Back smack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention. And salute to all the family in the chat. That's right. That's right. So as we get going on this one, man, talking about sandwiches, man, or as we call them, sammiches. One of the things that I love about a good sandwich is how you can take something ordinary, and you always talk about putting something between two slices of bread, but to make it something special, a lot of time bread is an important factor in that. But Also, what you're putting between the bread is important as well. I've taken to a little bit more clean eating and healthier eating in recent weeks and months, and I'm finding the benefits of that as I've been able to drop some weight, and my energy level has gone up much better, and overall it's working well for me. What do you have to say as we open up the show, B&B, about this thing with sandwiches? Not just what you put in between it, but when we talk about the bread that you're putting your items between.
Well, the good thing about making sandwiches is it's a one-man sport, right? So you can make your sandwich any way you want to. You can make it as healthy as you want to, or you can make it as unhealthy as you want to. You know what I mean? And we talk about breads. Bread can make or break a sandwich. I don't care how good the meat is in between those buns or that bread. If that bread ain't right, it could totally screw up a perfectly good sandwich.
Absolutely. I am in 1000% agreement with that. I just put up on the screen here a little chart that says understanding the different types of bread. And right off the bat, as we go through them, the first on the list there is white bread. Okay. And the thing about white bread is it's the most common bread. Everybody knows white bread, huh? And it says that it's a heavily processed bread to obtain the color and flavor, which removes most nutrients. Nutrients are typically added back in, okay? And that's talking about white bread. Now, second on that list, just the opposite of white, is wheat bread. And it says in here, definitely in red, it says not the same as whole wheat, just regular wheat, a bread made with wheat flour, which is a refined white flour, very similar to white bread with slightly more nutrients. Then we get to third across, because I'm reading from left to right. Third across from that is whole wheat. It says that whole wheat is made from wheat kernels that have been left intact and not processed, healthier and more nutrient rich than wheat bread, a type of whole grain bread it is. And then the fourth one across says multigrain, not the same as whole grain. Simply means that the bread was made with multiple grains, possibly including refined and processed grains, leading to less nutrients. See, the thing about this, boxing and barbecue, when you start understanding that those charts like this, they're there for a reason, and a lot of people overlook them. They don't even bother. They'll just go to the store and get what they think they like because they like the taste of it. But putting together the proper bread to make a dynamite sandwich, if you're using the right bread, you can get the optimum out of that sandwich, using the right bread. And overall, the taste may blow your taste buds out of the water too. So it's something to think about. And like I said, I've been becoming more health conscious with my diet as of late. And that's why I was able to pull this chart up like this, because it is important. And as we read through some of the other breads on the second line, the second row, it says whole grain, made with grains left fully intact, contain wheat, whole barley, brown rice, and more, all high in fiber and nutrients. Next to that is sprouted grain, made from grains that have been exposed to warm, moist conditions. Sprouted grains help digestion and increase absorption rate of nutrients in the body. Now, see, that I did not know. Did not know about that with sprouted grain. So overall, even out of everything I've read thus far, this might be one of the very best breads to make a sandwich on here. Huh? Next to that, we have sourdough, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with. Says can be any type of bread, but the rise comes from fermentation rather than yeast, resulting in a more sour taste. And then just to the right of that, we have rye, made from rye grain, typically denser and higher in fiber than wheat bread. It can be whole grain. And I'll stop right there because we have 8 more to get to before we, go further. But I just kind of wanted to open up talking about that like that because it is important because we're talking about breads, you know, and how they make that sandwich. Do you have boxing and barbecue? Do you have a favorite sandwich?
A favorite sandwich? I definitely have a favorite sandwich. My favorite, it's gonna sound crazy, but my favorite sandwich. Let me put it like this: I have I'm gonna give you my top 5 sandwiches, right? From 5 all the way to 1, right? So
Okay.
that way, I don't want people to say, "Oh, if I throw my top sandwich out there, people will be like, oh, he's not cultured in the realm of sandwiches, you know what I'm saying? And he just said X, Y, Z. So I'm gonna give you my top pound for pound 5 sandwiches, right? First, you got your Italian cold cut, right?
Okay.
Italian cold cut. Sometimes I like it with the hot. Sometimes I like it without the hot. Now I didn't learn about hots until I came to the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? So hots is like it's a sweet. You think of hots is you think of maybe spicy, but hots is more kind of it's sweet and a little bit of spice. I'm not a spicy person, but it'll set your sandwich off. You know what I'm saying? It's not overpowering. It's pretty good. It's a good additive to your sandwich. Number 4 on the list will be my grilled cheese sandwiches. Grilled cheese sandwich, you can't go wrong with a grilled cheese sandwich, cooked right. Number 3 would be my pastrami sandwich, right? Your pastrami sandwich, and it's funny that you say something about the bread because the rye bread on a pastrami sandwich is really, really good. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I love it. Yeah.
Rye bread with some sauerkraut. Some people like I think it's called Thousand Island sauce on it. I like mustard on mine. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I like on my pastrami sandwiches. For my number 2, I would have to say fried oyster po' boy.
Okay.
The oyster's got to be cooked good. It's got to be fried well. And my number 1, my favorite sandwich is your bologna sandwich. You can't go wrong with a good bologna sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And I know some people out there, they're probably listening. They say, man, bologna sandwich, that's pretty basic. But listen, man, you can't get the bologna from, with the little red plastic around the sides of it. Yeah. What you got to do is you got to go to the deli. You tell them, look, man, when I go to my deli, I tell them I want the number 6. That's the thickness of bologna. Okay. The number 6, people ain't gonna know what that is. So you say, hey, I want my bologna cut a 1/4 inch thick. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that little skinny stuff. I want a 1/4 inch beef bologna cook a 1/4 inch thick. You take that. You know what I'm saying? You take that bologna, you fry it real good. Of course, I've heard people say if you cut holes or slices off in the middle of your bologna, it won't bubble up. That's a lie. I've done it so many times and it always bubble up on me. I'm still trying to figure out how to keep that bologna from bubbling up on me. But anyway, what you do is you cut that bologna, you slice it a little bit, you fry it, and then what you do is you put that thing on some piece of bread, broach bread, some mustard, and then you finish it off. You stick that whole sandwich on the skillet. Got to be a black skillet. Stick that boy on the black skillet. You take your spatula and you smash that boy down. You smash that thing down on high heat. Get a little crust on it. You throw a little butter on there if you want to. Fry that boy on high heat. You flip it over. Fry it on high heat. You got yourself a hell of a sandwich.
Man, see, that's why I brought you on this show, man. Because as you talking like that and you giving the details, like you got to put it in that black skillet. That's the cast iron skillet there, man. It's got to go in that cast iron skillet. and then you mash that boy down so it get that little bit of a crust, like you said, that crispiness on the bread and everything. And my toes start curling up when you start talking like that, man. Because it's like I love food, man. And it's like to be able to understand exactly what you're saying. Um, that's the thing, man. It's like it's brothers out here that don't even know how to make a sandwich. I'm serious. And that's a shame because I grew up from an era where, you kind of had to learn stuff on your own. Even as a little kid, parents might be working and stuff. So you had to pick up some skills. You
Hey,
understand?
Stormy,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a little secret. This is for the people that want to take their bologna sandwich to another level. What you do is, if you're smoking on the pit one day, you go to the store or whatever, you take the butcher, your sandwich guy, your meat guy, tell them, I want a whole loaf of bologna.
Yeah.
You take it to the pit. If he's barbecuing or whatever, you take your bologna to the pit. You score it, right? When I say score, that means you take a knife and you cut like little slits on the top of it. You Google it or whatever. But anyway, you stick that boy on the back of your barbecue pit and you smoke it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're making ribs, you're making whatever you make, you leave that piece of bologna on there. You know what I'm saying? For however many hours. And I'm telling you, you take that bologna off and you get to cutting it, and then you put that boy on the grill on your black skillet and fry like you know. It's gonna have like a little smoky taste to it. It's gonna be crispy. Man, that's if you want to take your bologna sandwich to the next level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I hear you on that. I hear you on that wholeheartedly. It's funny. Certain restaurants like Subway, and they got Jimmy John's out there now, and different sub stores. Excuse me. Just in the past few years, recent years, they started toasting sandwiches. Well, some of us know about toasting sandwiches because we've been making them so long. It's like we were wondering what the hell was taking them so long to do it, right? But when you toast that bread, it has to be toasted a certain kind of way, because you don't want toasting to completely remove the flavor of the bread, because that can happen. And you want to be able to taste that bread with whatever you've put, on top of that sandwich. And that's very important. Toppings are also very important. One of the things that I've taken to, man, is I like to stack a sandwich with veggies, whether it's plenty of romaine and tomato, and I like a nice red onion, olives.
Yeah.
I like giardiniera sometimes, or jalapeno slices. Either or, but not all the time, one or the other, but to change it up from time to time. And then I like my little mixture of Italian seasonings, some ground black pepper, and oil of my choice. And then also, if I'm gonna have meat on there, it depends on which meat it is, or sometimes no meat and I can just have the sandwich like vegetarian like that. And man, it's off the chain. All those flavors come together, sometimes sprinkle with some cheese, sometimes no cheese, but just to have variety. Now you gave your 5 sandwiches. I have one that's a go-to for me, and I don't even eat it very often. But I had one last week for the first time in almost a year. And that, my friend, is the hoagie, the ham hoagie. Man, I was introduced to the ham hoagie. I must have been about 6 years old. My mom used to work a late shift, and she'd bring home a hoagie in the morning, coming home, and that bag that she would bring it in, the bag be wet with the oil from the hoagie. I get descriptive, like I'm describing a crime scene. Because it was. Once I got a hold of that bad boy, something was getting killed, and it was the hoagie. But I'll tell you, that bag was oily, man. And a hoagie has a specific taste and a specific scent with some of those, pepper, what do they call it? Pepperoni, pepper. I can't say that word. It's like pepperoncini, that pepper on there, sliced tomato, the onion on there, that cheese, that oil, the seasoning. Man, a hoagie is off the charts, man. It ain't a Subway sandwich. It ain't a submarine from Mr. Submarine. It is a total separate thing, a hoagie. And sometimes, depending on what area you're in, you have the ham hoagie, you have the turkey hoagie, the salami hoagie, and the steak hoagie. The steak hoagie, most of the people in the hood like the steak hoagies. It's like, but I prefer the ham hoagie. But that steak hoagie, man, let me tell you, bro. If someone ain't never had one of those, you take them out for that steak hoagie, man. They're going to love you for life for turning them on to it. I'm telling you. You ever had one of them hoagies, bro? Either kind?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. Well, first of all, I didn't get turned on until the oil on your sandwich until I came to the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day, I can remember, I guess when I was like, I guess I was probably like, I'm almost ashamed to say this. When I was like 8 years old, I was eating hoagies. You know what I'm saying? My mother, she used to when she used to come to the house or whatever, she used to bring me the hoagie bread, and of course she used to have all like the little fixings or whatever. And I used to make me a little hoagie. You know what I'm saying? I used to make egg sandwiches, hoagies. You know what I'm saying? And of course cereal. Was the number one go to when you're a little kid. But yeah, I've been eating the hoagie since I was like 8 years old or something like that. So I got introduced to the game real quick.
Man, it's a heck of a sandwich. And if you remember when the Cosby Show was on in the 80s, Bill Cosby used to break out the hoagie on his show sometimes. And his wife would always be telling him, Cliff, don't eat that, because it's not a healthy sandwich by any means.
Hey, Stormy.
Huh?
What was the number one thing that Heathcliff Huxtable would like to put off in his hoagies?
The chips. The chips. He had the chips. He opened that bread up, put them chips in there. Am I right?
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, I just had one day last week, bro. And I had my chips on the side, but oh my goodness, man. And I hadn't had one in almost a year. So I enjoyed that bad boy. It was the 12-inch hoagie. They sliced it like into quarters, so it was 4 pieces. I ate, one half, on one day, and then took the other half to work a couple days later. Man, that was like the best lunch at work, because it's like I hadn't had one in so long. So I was just sitting there savoring it, man, listening to my YouTube show while I'm sitting on my lunch break at work, man. And even though my feet was touching the ground, touching the floor where I was sitting, I felt like a little kid, like my feet was swinging from the chair like this, eating my sandwich, man. It was a good time, bro.
What kind of chips you had?
Huh?
What kind of chips you had?
Oh, man. I get myself in trouble for saying this, but I had sour cream and onion chips, bro.
Hey, Stormy. Next time, get you some fried pickle potato chips.
Fried pickle?
Fried pickle potato chips.
Okay.
I'm not for sure if you guys have Utz, UTZ.
Yeah, we got those here.
Yeah, the fried pickle, I'm trying to tell you, it's the move.
Okay. I'll be looking out for that one. But my go-to chip is for sandwiches?
What's that?
Rippled chips. whether they from Lay's or this other company. I love rippled chips, those thick,
Yeah.
wavy chips, because they're hearty and you don't have to eat as many. So you can eat like a handful with a sandwich, and that's good.
What about the kettle chips?
Huh?
What about the kettle chips?
Kettle chips are great, man. I can actually, eat too many of them, because they're so good. The kettle chips are so good. It's like I've, had to stop myself because it's like sitting down watching the fight or something and having the kettle chips. Man, I'll go through them bags, bro. But yeah, and I'll tell you, talking about these sandwiches and breads, like now when you talk about submarine sandwiches, I like Italian bread for my submarine sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love those Italian breads. Um, One thing I noticed about Subway, they have changed their bread a little bit, and it's like even the Italian is not like it once was. So it's like I don't even like to go to them anymore because they fooled around with the bread. Bread is something very important for the sandwich. That's why I'm having this particular show talking about it, because when you start doing too many funky things with bread, you can mess things up. And I'm gonna tell you this, boxing and barbecue. One of the things I hate for a sandwich is for the bread to be too damn sweet. How do you feel about that?
Sweet bread. It's funny that you should say that. A friend of mine, we were talking right before I came with the show. We were talking about breads, and she was like, "I know you like Hawaiian bread on your side." I said, "Yeah, Hawaiian bread, but you gotta be careful with how sweet your bread is. Like, if I'm gonna use a Hawaiian roll on the sandwich, it's got to be, Thanksgiving when you have those honey baked hams with the pineapples or whatever.
Right.
Got to be something like that, or broche bread. It's got to be like subtle. It can't be overpowering. Anything on the sandwich that's going to be overpowering, I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Um, so for me, as a matter of fact, what I make my sandwiches now with, I got a big loaf off of my kitchen right now. Is broche bread. I mean, it's I wouldn't say it's sweet. It has a subtle sweetness to it, but I do believe a lot of breads they put sugar off in it. Like there was once upon a time that I used to eat potato bread a lot, and
Yeah.
potato bread is very very sweet. You know what I mean? I didn't notice it until I started eating other types of bread, and I kind of noticed stuff. And then when I bit into my potato bread, I was like, "Oh man, this is a little sweet, and I don't like the consistency of it." But
Yeah.
for me, I think the broche bread is the perfect consistency. Right? It has a light sweetness to it, but not so much. It's thick, and you know what I'm saying. It's the perfect bread to any type of sandwich. So you can put a broche bread on a pastrami sandwich. You can put a broche bread on a bologna sandwich. You can use it for a PBJ, your BLT, any type of sandwich that you want. It's a good generic overall bread that you can put on different types of sandwiches.
Yeah. Now I want to ask you this. Talking, you mentioned PB and J. What do you think is your go to bread for a good PB sandwich? Because for the longest time, I tried to use wheat bread,
Mm.
and I was using it, and I was like, it's okay. But I said, and you know what? When I went back to using white bread for PB and J, it's like that seemed to be the best to me. And or unless I toasted white bread or just regular plain. What would you say is yours for
So,
PB and J?
so it's funny that you should mention that because the PBJ was an honorable mention on my top 5 list, the
Yeah,
PBJ and the BLT. But the PBJ is definitely the staple off of my sandwiches. That's my go-to. Um, I would have to say the broach bread. The problem with, say for instance, the a regular white bread is, first of all, it's too thin. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, man. It's like the PBJ has to have the right consistency. You know what I'm saying? Like, say for instance, if you like a lot of peanut butter on your PBJ, you know what I'm saying, or you like a lot of jelly. If you have regular white bread, too much peanut butter or too much jelly on your bread, it's gonna be mushy. You're gonna find jelly, you know what I'm saying, falling out the back of your sandwich. That's too
Right.
much, you know what I'm saying? But if you go to your store, of course, I used to do the potato bread, but like I said before, it's the same problem that I had with the white bread. First of all, the potato bread is too sweet. You already got peanut butter. Peanut butter is already sweet. The jelly is already sweet. Last thing you need is, you know what I'm saying, some sweet bread on your sandwich, right? On top of that, it's too thin. So if you take a broach bread is a little bit thicker. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit thicker. It's not as sweet. So when you put your peanut butter and your jelly up in there, it's not going to overpower your taste. But most importantly, you know what I'm saying, you can pile. Me personally, I like a lot of peanut butter on my PBJ. You know what I'm saying? If you put too much jelly on it, you're going to find your jelly sliding at the back of your sandwich. I don't like all that. You know what I'm saying? It gets messy.
Right.
So I would say a broach bread, a nice thick broach bread for your PBJ.
Okay. Now I haven't tried broach on with PBJ on broach. I may have to look and try that out, man, because I'm looking to explore with that. Now let me ask you this about PB and J: do you spread the peanut butter on both sides of the bread or only on one side?
First of all, that's sacrilegious. You only put peanut butter on one side and you put the jelly on one side. If you putting peanut butter on both sides of your bread and you putting the jelly, there's something wrong with you. You probably one of those type of people that eat a bowl of cereal and then you drink your milk. You know what I'm saying? That's a no-go. You know what I'm saying? You put your peanut butter, and then on top of that, I'm one of those people that don't like to mix things. So if I'm putting my peanut butter on one side, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna go and put my peanut butter knife into my jelly and spread it on the same side. That's
Right.
disgusting. I don't know why
Right.
this is a thing I have. But anyway, you put your peanut butter on one side and you put your jelly on one side. You smash that boy together. Now listen, I'm gonna tell you another secret. I hate to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like my inner fat boy is starting to show, but I learned this trick. You know what I'm saying? You take a PBJ and I don't even know if I should be saying this, but you take a PBJ, you make your PBJ, and if you stick that boy in your front pocket or your back pocket, well, you gotta put it off in like a little sandwich bag first, right?
Right.
Stick it off in your front pocket or your back pocket, probably your back pocket. Say for instance, you got to go to I don't know if you're going down, you sit on that boy. You go to the store and you sit on it. You take that PBJ out. I don't know if it's because the jelly soaks off into the bread, or I think the peanut butter might soak into. I'm not for sure. I think it's the jelly that soaks into the bread. I'm not really for sure. But you take that boy out. It's warm. The jelly been soaking off into the bread. The bread is mushed down a little bit. You got yourself a hell of a sandwich right there.
Yeah, man. And there's something about like a bologna sandwich that you made. Like, you remember like going to school, if you had a brown bag at lunch, and if you had a bologna sandwich in that brown bag, it's like after it done sat it like at room temperature or something, because of course you got to keep the bologna in the fridge and stuff like that. But it's like it's something about that damn bologna sandwich that was sitting in that sandwich wrapper, wax paper, whatever you wrap it up in. But it's like if it's at room temperature and you eat it, man, that sandwich is good as hell, bro. It's
Stormy.
something about that. It's like, I don't know, man. And I remember like when I was in grade school, taking the brown bag at lunch, it's like, and everybody had to put their lunch, somewhere, a lot of us had our names on our bags and stuff like that with our lunch and stuff. But you might have lunch, the sandwich, a piece of fruit, a juice or milk, or sometimes both in that. And we didn't have like chips, we just had the fruit and the juice or whatever. It's like, man, that was a damn good lunch, bro.
It's funny that you should say that. Now I talked about fried bolognas off in the beginning, but every once in a blue, says sometimes, I don't even fry the bologna. I take the boy out and I stick between some bread and put some mustard on there, and I eat it just like that. You know what I mean? Without even frying it. When you fry stuff, sometimes it brings the taste out. You know what I'm talking about? So if you fry your bologna, it brings like a different taste. I think it may be like the grease off in the meat or something like that. But
Yeah.
it brings out the taste. It's almost like say for instance, if you got a fresh onion as opposed to an onion that's grilled, it's gonna be two different tastes. So sometimes, I take the bologna out the refrigerator and I eat it just like that. And like you said, I remember back in the day, in school, you know what I mean? That bologna sandwich, it tastes a little bit different when it's room temperature.
Man, let me tell you something, bro. This is like something I had tried. 78, he should be out there listening to us tonight because he's a sandwich guy himself. But I had to tell him about this sandwich. I discovered it just playing around, not playing around, but, trying something different. Because he always talking about that fried bologna sandwich, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, that's a staple for us sandwich lovers. But I told him, I said, 78, you ain't had a sandwich yet, brother, until you take that fried bologna and get you some fried crispy bacon and put it on that bad fella. Have you tried that boxing and barbecue?
I have.
Man.
I
tried that. I had some leftover bacon, from a breakfast one morning. And it's amazing that I hadn't tried this before, but it's like, I fried up some bologna and, put it on a sandwich. And I was like, let me take this bacon and put it on there. I had some tomato. I had some lettuce. Got me some sandwich spread. Man, let me tell you something, boxing and barbecue and chat. Man, when I bit into that sandwich, brother, I stood up and I was like, what have I been doing? I've been messing up my sandwiches. I was like, man, that bacon and that bologna, the tomatoes and man, that was a super sandwich, bro. I was like, so, of course, we in the chat one day talking to 78. I said, hey, 78, man, you need to try this sandwich out, man. The fried bologna was talking about. I said, put some fried bacon on there, bro. Make sure the bacon is crisp. He's like, yeah, that sounds good, Stormy. He said, I'm going to try that one day. I asked him a couple more times. He hadn't tried it. Then finally, I asked him one more time, and he was like, Stormy, I tried that sandwich. His reaction was just like mine. He was like, man, what have I been missing? It's like, oh my goodness.
78, he mentioned something a long, long time ago that I've never tried before, but it was, he said, I was like, damn, that's a good ass idea. He said that when we were talking about bread and everything, he said Texas toast. Put Texas toast on some bread. I just haven't figured out what type of sandwich I want to put it on. You know what I'm saying? Have you tried it before?
Yes.
What'd you put it on?
I had Texas toast with what did I have? I had I made it like a turkey BLT.
Ooh.
And it was the Texas toast that had the butter and cheese.
Damn.
On the Texas toast. Man, let me tell you something, boy. Fat boys everywhere will rejoice. You understand? Because that's a hell of a sandwich right there. And we skipped over something talking about putting sandwiches together on bread. You can't come in there putting that little thin piece of meat on there. You gotta put some meat on there, huh? That meat gotta have like you pull out a wad of cash. You gotta put a wad of meat on that sandwich, man, because dude, when you finish, you want to be done. You don't want to be like, let me go make another. I ain't full yet. Nah.
Now, see, Stormy, I think this is where you and I differ. You know what I'm saying? Like when we have our sandwiches, it's funny that you should bring this up, but for my sandwiches, you know, especially I got this sub shop that I go to. It's back of a grocery store. It's like a little deli in the back, and I always gotta tell them. I say, hey, don't put all that meat on my sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Just put, you know, enough meat. And I'm probably like one of the only people that don't want a whole bunch of meat on the sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Blasphemy.
want. I don't want. Listen, everything has to line up perfectly. It's almost just like this. What I was saying about the PBJ. If you put too much peanut butter, you put too much jelly on your sandwich. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't gonna be right. So I don't want anything overpowering my sandwich. I don't want too much meat on my sandwich. I don't want, you know, where I'm gonna have to, you know, all my tomatoes, all my lettuce. I don't want too much tomatoes. I don't want too much lettuce. I don't want, everything has to be a perfect consistency. Like I want to be able to taste everything in my sandwich. I want to be able to hear the crunch on my bread. I want to be able to taste the softness in my bread. I want to be able to, you know what I mean? Everything has.
Don't you hate when they put too much lettuce on a sandwich? When you go someplace and you tell them what you want on it, and lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, whatever, But when they try to drown your sandwich with a damn like a garden of lettuce, I'll be
Yeah,
like, look,
you,
man, just because y'all ain't moving many sandwiches, don't put it all on my sandwich, huh?
yeah. I
But you're
mean,
right as far as tasting all the condiments and everything on there, because it's like, dude, and I can get away with it. Doesn't have to be a wad of meat on there, especially if I'm getting it, worked over like you can get it done at a Subway or something like that. But just don't put, overdo it with the lettuce. And I started substituting the lettuce with spinach and found that I've enjoyed the sandwiches much more.
I mean, you know, I have a list of places that I put on my ban list. I put places on probation, meaning that, you know, I went there and I got a bad sandwich, you know, and I'm not gonna give, you know, I'm not gonna give up the place altogether, but I put place on probation. Like I won't go there, you know, for a couple weeks. And if they play with me again, I'm putting them on the ban list. And I'm very strict about my ban list. If you go on the ban list, 9 times out of 10, your ass is not getting off the ban list.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you just gotta. I don't know, and sometimes what's funny? People who work at sandwich shops, like who make sandwiches for a living, every day, daily sandwiches, whatever. You need to be a sandwich lover to do that, man. Cause it's gonna be made with love. It's gonna be made with care. It's gonna be made with just how you could enjoy if you were a person partaking. There's some people, they don't even know, man. It's like you have to, hey, can I have a little bit more of this? Can you pull it? Oh, not too much of that. It's like, really? You know,
You know,
and I guess
Stormy,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Storm, I'm gonna give you. I remember. I don't mean to switch up the topic, but before I forget, we first started the show. You said something about healthy sandwiches, meat alternatives. I'm gonna give you a great sandwich that's delicious. I'm not really for sure how healthy it is. I get mixed. Some people say mushrooms are good for you. Some people say mushrooms are bad for you. But anyway, a portobello mushroom sandwich. Have you ever had one of those before?
I haven't had a portobello mushroom sandwich, but I have had portobello mushrooms.
Okay,
You
so
know, I know how they taste. Yeah,
what you do is you take I'm not talking about like the little small ones. I'm talking about
the
like
bigger ones. Yeah.
the big ones. And what you do is you soak that boy. You take that mushroom and you soak it in balsamic vinegar. you know what I'm saying, for a couple hours. You soak that boy off in it, you know what I'm saying? You soak it off in there, you stick it on your black skillet, and you fry it for a little bit. You ain't got to put no grease off in there like that. You just fry it, you cook it down a little bit till it's nice and tender. Then what you do is you take that one off and you put your onions off in there. You know what I'm saying? You put your onions, you fry your onions, and then you take some provolone cheese, you put that mushroom back on there, and you melt your provolone cheese, and you stick that boy on or some whatever bread that you like. That's a hell of a sandwich for you. You know what I'm saying? Some portobello mushroom with provolone cheese and fried onions on top. It'll change your life. And it's pretty healthy. You ain't got to worry about the meat and everything else. Pretty sure the cheese is not good for you, but you know what I'm saying? It's better than a whole bunch of meat.
Yeah, man. But that's, it's like, for me, I'm just starting to get into more of the vegetables and everything that I didn't like as a kid, but I'm starting to find my way toward it now. Like, there was a time I didn't like olives at all. I didn't like olives, man. But now when I'm making like a hearty, you know, submarine sandwich or something like that at home or whatever, I have to have my olives. I have to have, my, like I said, spinach sometimes in the place of lettuce. And then I like shredded lettuce. I like romaine lettuce, you know, things like that. And I kind of mix it up, man. And let me ask you this. Have you ever, like, when you talk about making the heartier sandwiches on the bigger breads, like the broach bread or something like that, have you substituted a condiment topping like a Miracle Whip or a mustard or something like that with one of the salad dressings, like a creamy garlic or a ranch peppercorn or something like that? Have you tried that?
No, I've never tried that. And like I said before, you know what I'm saying, it goes back to, things on your sandwich that overpower the taste. You know what I mean? If you talk about like a garlic dressing or you talk about some type of ranch or something like that, I've never tried it, but if you're gonna put something on your sandwich, you gotta make sure that's not gonna overpower the taste of your
Right,
sandwich.
exactly. And I'm not talking about you pour it, like gunking it over, but it's like it's a slight drizzle. It's a different taste than just putting, what people would standardly put like a Miracle Whip or a salad what do you call it? Sandwich spread or a mayo or something like that. But something like a creamy garlic or a peppercorn or ranch or something like that in place. It's like it gives it a different taste dynamic, especially if you have, the other veggies on there, the tomatoes, the lettuce, and stuff like that.
I
It
think
just gives it something different.
I think it's definitely something that I would try, but this kind of goes back to what you and I discussed a while ago when we were talking about barbecue and putting sauces on your barbecue, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like for me, I want to taste my meat. You know what I'm saying? A good barbecue sauce, that's cool. You know what I mean? But for me, um, I like to taste everything. So if I'm talking about my sandwiches, I don't, and even like maybe it's because I'm going blind a little bit. My my sense of taste has changed, and it has I can taste a lot of different stuff, you know what I mean? So a lot of things, it overpowers me. So I can't put like I got to be careful about what I put on any type of food because I can taste everything, you know what I mean? I can taste, so if I'm having like some type of dressing on it, I would have to be careful of how much I put on there, and making sure that it doesn't ruin the sandwich or anything else.
yeah, yeah. So, but you're absolutely right. You don't want something that's going to be overbearing and take away from the overall, flavor. And it's interesting you mentioned that, having that sensitivity of the palate that you can really taste the flavors that are going on your food, because some people, they don't identify with taste buds. They just wolf food down and stuff like that. One of the things I've always taken pride out of, like when I go out to dine at a restaurant or something, I'm always savoring the flavor of my food. And like, it's like, I can make this at home and I can do this better, or something like that. It's just something that I've done, you know what I mean? Especially when I started cooking more on my own. It's like, you know,
It's crazy that you should mention that, Stormy, because not only do I have a sensitive palate, the consistency of the food, I can tell when something is crispy. I could even off in a sandwich. Say if I bite down into a sandwich and I find that the tomatoes are mushy, I'll be able to tell from the first bite, like, hey, these tomatoes are mushy, or I could tell that this lettuce is not crunchy or it's old. Is I hate to sound like a fat boy, but said I have a heightened sensitivity when it comes to the taste of food, the consistency of food, and everything in between. So
yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny, man. We see when I started talking to you about, what you like meals you were putting together and preparing. See, I knew that you were a person that took the time out, investing in what you cooking, what you preparing and stuff like that. That's why I would always be hitting you up saying, "Hey man, what's on the menu today or whatever." Because I know when you take the time out to think of that stuff, you're gonna go to the store. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get that because you putting it together in your mind, while you're shopping, and it's like it always turns out well too because it's like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
people can't do that. Even if you gave them a list and say, "Hey, do this," and it's like it's tough, you know.
yeah. I think
But
I mean to cut you off, but I think is I give all props and credit to my grandmother. When I was young, my grandmother, man, she introduced me to a lot of different foods. You know what I'm saying? She would, I would see her eat different things, you know what I mean? And she like, oh, you want to taste? I said, yeah, I taste, you know what I'm saying? And, from chitlins to, I know people hate chitlins, but my grandmother, um, she told me a long time ago, a woman from Louisiana schooled her on a lot of the stuff that she cooked. People from Louisiana know how to cook very, very well, you know what I'm saying? So she got this special way or this different way that's out of the normal that she make her chitlins. But anyway, I digress. But my grandmother, my mother, you know what I'm saying? I've always been um, introduced to a lot of different foods. And on top of that, as I got older, you know what I'm saying, if I'm dating a woman, if she don't know how to cook, I can't do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned from the different women that I've dated, you know what I mean? They got their own different type of foods. And of course, I'm an older man now and I carried all that stuff with me, you know what I mean? And so I have a very, very strong palate for different types of food. And I have my father, he's West Indian. So um um, you know, their food is different, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of curry, it's a lot of different, you know what I'm saying, flavors, goats, different type of meats and things like that. So, I've been influenced from a lot of different people, you know what I mean? And so on top of that, I'm greedy as hell. So, you know what I'm saying? That kind of influence my palate, you know what I'm saying? For the different types of food. So
yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. And my cooking skills picked up later in life. It's like it was out already while I was out on my own, my own place, and I just started going in there trying stuff, and ever since then, it's like I've been able to put together whatever I want to eat, whether it's a Thanksgiving meal or if it's just a Sunday evening dinner meal or a weekday something. Um, I
yeah,
think it's important for a man to know his way around the kitchen because even if you're a single guy, it's a tremendous thing. If you're a married guy, it's a tremendous thing because some women, they think like that old adage that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach or whatever. But if you know how to handle yourself in the kitchen, you take all that power away from her. Seriously. And she had to go sit down somewhere. And guess what? She gonna be mad. But she can't be mad at nobody but herself. Because if you take that time out and practice, and practice make perfect, right? So get your butt in there and try some stuff, and don't be saying, well, I can't do it as good as you. Well, try, huh? But just know that I don't need you like that. So you know what I mean? It's like there's a number of things, and that's just one example. We're talking about cooking here, but it's also, it applies toward a lot of things in life, man. Because a
Hey,
man should be able to handle his business, really,
hey,
and
Stormy.
that's the value in that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna give you one of my go-to sandwiches as well. It's an open face avocado sandwich. What do you think about those?
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
So avocado sandwich, I mean, basically it's toasted bread. You got your different type of sandwiches, right? You got your open face, you got your closed face sandwich.
Right.
So an avocado sandwich is pretty much an open face. You can make a closed face, but for me, it's an open face sandwich. And what I usually do is I toast my bread, put some butter on it or whatever, and you take an avocado and you mash it up, but you don't mash it up all the way. You know what I'm saying? You still want a little lumpy. What I usually do is I put like some onion powder, some garlic powder, a little pepper on it. You know what I'm saying? I mix it a little bit with the avocado. And once you toast your bread, right, you spread your avocado across the bread. You know what I'm saying? And then if you want to, what I usually do sometimes, I take an egg over easy and I stick that boy on top of there and I eat the sandwich just like that. It's a pretty good sandwich. It's a breakfast sandwich. You know what I'm saying? It's healthy because you got your avocado, of course. And eggs are not as healthy, I don't think, but still is more healthy than, you know what I'm saying, say for instance, putting a whole bunch of sausages or bacon or something off of your sandwich or whatever. But it's a pretty good sandwich. It's quick, it's easy, and it's a good sandwich.
Now, you know what's interesting? After you started describing it like that, I realized, because I drive past several of them on my commute in to work in the morning, Dunkin' Donuts is doing that now. They got a avocado sandwich that they serve in the mornings. It's like I think they put roasted peppers on it too or something, and then bacon bits, sprinkled bacon bits on it or something like that. I haven't tried it, but I seen it on the advertisement, like in the window of the place, and I'm like, oh, they just recently started doing that. So yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about. People doing too much. Now you want to put bacon on your avocados. The bacon is going to overpower the avocado. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
didn't say slices of bacon. It's bacon bits, like it's sprinkled on there or something.
Well,
It's
even
not
bacon.
like slices of bacon.
Even bacon bits. Everybody know bacon has a strong flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? Then on top of that, you taking a sandwich that was supposed to be healthy and you throwing bacon on top of it.
Man, bacon is something else, man. It's like they put bacon on so much stuff now, man. I saw this dude on a YouTube channel making these steaks and stuff, and the dude must have wrapped the steaks in like 2 pounds of bacon, man. I was like, and he was cooking it on the grill. I was like, man, this is people just bacon is like a curse. It's like it tastes so good, but it's like people have lost their minds when it comes to bacon, man.
See, that's for me, Stormy is it just kind of it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying? People try to do too much. You know what I mean? If you go back
Yeah.
to my pound for pound list, I told you my number one sandwich was the bologna sandwich. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you don't have to put all these fantastical stuff on your sandwich to make it a great sandwich. You know what I'm saying? You can have a regular sandwich, be it a PBJ or a BLT or something like that, and it can be better than any other sandwich that somebody will put all these fantastical condiments on it.
Yeah. RBG Boxing out there says it's not that bad if it's sprinkles. He says, calm down. You like butter. That's no better. So he got you on that one. Because it's like, yeah, I like to put me some butter, butter.
Yeah, I mean,
man.
Everybody's palate is different. You know what I mean? I agree with that. But you know what I mean? And sometimes it's like, you got to keep things basic. Ain't nothing wrong with just having a regular sandwich. Now, I would agree with RGB. Butter makes everything better. And it's got to be salted butter.
Shoot, butter and bacon. You can't go wrong with it. It's like a lot of people was like, in the hospitals on that damn machine because of the butter and bacon, man. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Because of butter and bacon. Listen, I don't know if you have a Sprouts out your way, but they got the best bacon. Have you heard of Sprouts before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, a lot of times off in the store, when you go to them, they say, oh, this is a thick cut bacon, but a lot of times that bacon don't be thick. But anyway, I guess you would have to go to your local butcher or somebody like that in order to get you a good slice of bacon. But we got a place out here called Sprouts. Off of Texas, it's a place called, that's where I learned it from. But anyway, off of Texas, they got a place called Sprouts grocery store. It's a farmer's market. But anyway, they got butcher's bacon. You know what I'm saying? And when I say it's cut thick, it's cut thick. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about, sometimes bacon be cut too thick where, it don't cook right. But
Right.
if you got you a good piece of bacon cut at a decent size, that too can make or break a sandwich.
Cool. Yes, sir. Well, man, it looks like we've come to the end of our hour already. I told you it'll fly by.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's it. It's actually 4 minutes past the hour. We've been cooking, man. And we've had a nice little crowd to come out with us this evening to check us out because a lot of times people, this is not a normal night that I would do this on either. I would usually do it either on a Saturday afternoon or a Thursday night. So, but I won't be able to do anything tomorrow because I got some business affairs to take care of. But that's why I wanted to push it to today. But I really appreciate you coming on with me this evening and sharing the subject and sharing your thoughts and views on it. And I'd like to have you back again in the future as we touch on, a different subject on the Dine and Dish. But I really appreciate you joining me. Can you go ahead and give some final thoughts on the show, being on, whatever, anything on your mind, and, as we get ready to close things out?
No, Stormy, there's a whole bunch of sandwiches that we didn't, I'm sorry, I apologize for my part off in it, but I kind of digress. We started talking about food. I talk about a whole bunch of different other stuff, but there was a whole bunch of other sandwiches that should have been mentioned, off in this conversation. But
that's all the reason why we revisit the subject with a part 2. You see, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. So that's the wonderful thing about this show. Revisiting a subject or a topic or going even further or bringing a part 2 or something. That's what it's all about, man. So don't feel bad. I think that we got some great conversation in on the subject and the talking points that we did share. So yeah, don't worry.
Yeah. 2 sandwiches I mentioned just real quick. Fried catfish sandwich, of course, on for Texas. So fried catfish sandwich, you gotta have that. And because I'm on the East Coast, a crab cake, shrimp salad club sandwich, you gotta try that. If people out there ain't never heard that before, it's a crab cake. And make sure if you go somewhere, they say they got crab cake. If it ain't lump, it's not a crab cake. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Stormy, I just want to say I appreciate you reaching out to me and having me on your platform. Like I told you before, I love your channel because you have not only boxing, but you have a whole bunch of different other stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, whomever is listening to it, you know what I'm saying, you pick your poison. You know what I mean? Stormy got it. You know what I mean? So I want to say I appreciate you. I respect you a whole bunch for having me on here. And I hope that I added to the conversation and I did your platform some justice. I would love to come back. And I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Oh yeah, man, and I love to bring you back because we can get into some of those conversations that because we can get into talking about grilling and all of that good stuff. But this was just a particular subject. I was like, hey, let's talk about this, because one of the things I like to do is I try to take the community in a different direction, especially when we're being hammered so much from all sides by the same information over and over and over again. So it's like an outlet. You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's like everybody expecting a run up the middle, and Stormy is going to throw a bomb for a touchdown. That's that's what I'm doing. So that's the way I look at it. And that doesn't mean no one else can do that. It just means that I always try to find something, and I'm very consistent with that. But yeah, you were great. You did great. You had some great talking points. You brought up some things, and we had a very good rapport. I think another one knocked out of the park, and I was glad to have you on here. Want to have you back. So, one thing about doing this show too, it's all about fun. It's like who don't have fun when they sit down and talk and eat and stuff and talk about food, having food. I said this so many times with doing this show. One of the reasons why people have meetings and gatherings over food and meals is because that's the time that you can sit down and let your hair down, so to speak, and be vulnerable and laugh and sometimes cry, because food is like soulful, man. It's like what you do to sustain yourself, substance, so that's important. And I'll tell you this little tidbit. I've said it before. When I first started my channel out, I would talk about food all the time and talking about my boxing, and I'll find something to talk about with food, right? And I'll be associating and attributing it to food and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Once I created this show and started doing a few episodes of it, I don't really talk about food on my boxing content anymore because I had an outlet. You know what I mean? It's like I found an avenue for that. So now when I do something different, I can focus solely in on that. And if I wanted to mention something about food, it could be just for that moment. It doesn't have to go into a conversation about it because I found that already. So I discovered that once I got a few of these shows under my belt, and it didn't take long. It was talking about maybe three episodes. And then I look up and I say, man, I went through so many shows where I didn't even talk about food. So yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I just appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you just, just reaching out, you know what I mean? And, not even just me, just, for other people as well, you know what I mean? Just open your platform up and just, being a light for people to guide people through, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, just hold on one moment while I close this out, and I'll put you backstage and bring you back. But thank you so much again, man. And we must team up again for a future episode. And I'll tell you this, I'll let you pick the topic for the future episode that you come in. That way we can really cook on it. But stand by for a moment, okay?
For sure.
All right. Man, so this brings us to the end of our show for this evening. Sammiches and the bread that makes them. Part 1. because we'll be back for a follow-up on this. But it was a great show. You guys that were here in the chat, you were very active. I'm sorry we didn't do a roll call because we wanted to get right into our subject matter for the evening. But everybody, the usual suspects, William Old School, Con Shonery, Big Homie Coop, all of you guys out there, man. I even saw World Combat Sports out there earlier, RBG Boxing, Mansa Musa, all of you guys, man. Thank you for stopping in. Smash that like button on the way out if you didn't on your way in. Thank you for your support, man. Another great show, great opportunity to talk about something that we love, food, huh? So I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. We got another one under our belts. This is Stormy. We're going to get on up out of here and catch you guys on the next one. Peace to everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.